Welcome to This Week in Poker, your source for the latest happenings in poker news. I'm Sean Green. Let's start with poker tournament news. The big news this week was that Carlos Mortensen took down his third WPT title Tuesday night at the Hollywood Poker Open. Those three titles tie him for the most ever WPT titles with Gus Hansen. Mortensen isn't new to distinct achievements, though. He remains the only person to have won both the World Series of Poker World Championship main event and the WPT Championship. At the Hollywood Poker Open, he outlasted 142 other players to snag nearly $400K for a payday. Moving over to poker legal news, the American Gaming Association made a significant move this week regarding its stance on online poker. The AGA changed its official stance from neutral to open to the concept of online gambling. Members of the AGA include gaming giants Harrah's Entertainment, MGM Mirage, and Las Vegas Sands. Now that's a big deal for lobbying efforts, and it also means that should online poker become explicitly legal and regulated in the US, casinos are already priming themselves to join in that fun with sites of their own. We did an extensive interview with the AGA president and CEO that you can find on our homepage if you want more information on their stance and future plans. In other legal news, we recently told you about how the Kentucky Supreme Court decided to side with Kentucky Governor Steve Beshear's decision to seize the domain names of more than 140 online gambling sites. The move was surprising, but the court's reasoning was that iMega, an organization representing some of the sites in the case, did not have standing to pursue the legal battle because it did not publicly name any of the sites it represents. Well, that all changed this week when the site TruePoker.com came out publicly as being both part of the Kentucky seizure case and a member of iMega, which should theoretically give iMega standing in the case. The case is expected to move forward once again, and the defense suggested that other than the issue of standing, the court seemed very receptive to all of their arguments, making them hopeful for a positive decision. And now for sports news. Well, kind of. Lithuania recently declared poker to be a sport, making it legal to hold non-commercial poker tournaments outside of casinos within the country's borders. This also has reopened the debate as to whether or not something like poker can truly be considered a sport. We're holding a poll on our Facebook fan page today on the issue, so feel free to vote and then comment as to whether or not you think poker should actually qualify as a sport. Finally, we interviewed reigning Tournament of Champions winner Mike Sexton just yesterday regarding his thoughts on the World Series of Poker's new system for determining the 27 entrants in this year's event. Here's what he had to say. Well, there are two particularly interesting components to the field this year. The first is that there's the fan voting system for 20 of the entrants, and then there are those two spots that we've been told will be open to the public qualification. What are your thoughts on those in particular, and did you have any hand in deciding on them?
No, I was contacted by the people from Harrah's that they were going to revive it, that I had an exemption, and how they were going to go about creating an all-star event for poker, so to speak, and televise it on ESPN. And 20 of those players are going to be selected like they do in sports, like baseball and the NBA and basketball, where the fans select who they want to see play in the all-star game, so to speak. So what's happened now is 20 players are going to be voted upon, see who gets the most votes that the fans want to see play in the Tournament of Champions at the World Series of Poker. And certainly it's going to create a lot of buzz for the event, and I think anytime you create buzz for any televised event, it's good for it. So poker will be no exception. What I like most about it is that be qualified to be voted upon is that you have to have had a World Series of Poker win, at least one bracelet under your belt, to get on that vote list. So I think that was a good idea on their part. I'm for that. And I know there's a lot of great young internet superstars out there and a lot of high-stakes cash game players. But some of them have yet to win a World Series of Poker bracelet, and I like the idea that you had to win a bracelet to even get voted on.
And so what do you think about the two public qualifiers? Do you think that's a good idea, or do you think it kind of takes away from the point of the tournament?
Well, I think it's a good idea in that it's going to create a lot of interest among people to try to qualify, and certainly if you had an online site, you want to bring a lot of traffic to your site and create buzz for your event, and certainly this is going to do it as much or more than anything that they're going to do. So for an opportunity for someone someplace to get a chance to sit down with 25 of the best, some of the best poker players in the world for sure, it's going to be a great opportunity for them to play in $1 million free roll tournament. So, I understand that. I have no problems with it because they're putting up the $1 million, and I think the people that put up the money for you to play can dictate the rules. And I think those that get to play should be grateful that they have an opportunity to play for that kind of money and not about the format or the structure. So I do think that they can do what they want to because they're funding the event.
Well, that's it for this week in poker. Thanks for watching, and catch us again here next week on Card Player TV.